Oh, just about on time. That worked out. I'm not even sure I did that on purpose. It is the Schultz Cast. Good morning. Episode 57. Again, I missed a couple of days. I missed it in Louisville and yesterday. So no cavities. So I can't say enough about Southern Family Dentistry. I don't have insurance. The doctor took 5 minutes, got a couple of x-rays, no problem. He gave me some prescription toothpaste, which is great. My teeth look pretty good. Like, I got these straightened out. I got the one little tooth that I've noticed. These two right here that aren't as straight as I like, but if I showed you a picture of what they were 2 years ago, they look a lot better. And I brush my teeth, I floss. But something was bothering me, and he's like, "No, I don't see anything." That's like the first time ever. Like, you're almost expecting them to say, "Yeah, you got one." Kind of like a mechanic. Well, this was the case where you bring the car in, I can't find, it's making a strange noise. I can't find it. It's not doing anything. A lot of times in mechanic, nothing's wrong, and they're like, "You need new brakes." That kind of deal. Okay. Things we won't talk about. Panthers up 3-0. Boy, I mean, it looks like, was it Matthew Tkachuk and is it Matthew? Isn't it Matthew? And Tatum are going to win championships. Is that great? Yeah. High school buddies. That's a little crazy. Are we messing around with the Wi-Fi already? I need a longer wire. I need a long cord. We're already screwing around with the Wi-Fi here. First thing in the damn morning. All right, Cajuns All-Americans. Kyle DeBarge, first or second team, well deserved. I did see. Was a perfect game, and I'm not going to tell you. Let me see if I can find it. Perfect game had. I think they did their 40 top prospects, and they have a bunch of shortstop prospects. And, good luck. Yeah, so they did the top 500, but they did the top 40 where they tweeted it out. And there's a couple of college shortstops. And again, I'm not going to pretend to know who these guys are or claim that I've seen any of them. The top shortstop, is that right? Seaver King. Is that out of Rutgers? Wake Forest. Okay. And then Kalen Culpepper from Kansas State. So those are two college shortstops. And then I think, you got Theo Gillen, who's a shortstop outfielder out of Westlake, out of Houston, right? Is that Houston? And then Tyson Lewis out of Millard West High School. He's 33. And then a Carter Johnson out of Oxford High School. And Caleb Bonemer out of Okemos. All right. So you got a handful of shortstop prospects that are higher rated than Kyle DeBarge. You better be right on that, is all I'm saying. If you take a high school shortstop, you better be right. Now, some of these high school shortstops may not get as much money as they want, and who knows what their family situation is. Dylan Cruz's family was well off, and he went to college. Gage Jump, by the way, is 44th on this list. So he just missed the tweet. He's the highest. Well, no. Tommy White is listed as 30th. Boy, good luck if you pass on Tommy White. I like his defense. Maybe he swings a little bit too much. And again, oddly enough, that can be fixed with better pitching. He might chase some bad pitches out, but the higher level you go, the curveball, the breaking balls may be tighter and better, but they don't miss the strike zone nearly as much. It's an odd thing, right? Because you can put it on the black and you make it frozen on one of those things. But it's not going to have, they're not as wildly out of the strike zone in the higher levels you get. Sometimes it's very odd. You can see a hitter's average go up the higher level he is because the pitching is more around the strike zone, right? Whereas at the lower level, sometimes it's either down the middle or wildly out of the strike zone. Let's see where we have Luke Holman, 55th, by the way. Kyle DeBarge, 58th. So he's right at the end of that second round, beginning of third. So this is funny because his profile says catcher. Catcher, third baseman, middle infielder. The funny part is when Deggs was talking about, catching and putting Clay Wargo in there as like a pinch hitter, he's like, we're, one foul tip away from, having our pitcher hit. And if something happens to that catcher, our emergency catcher is basically DeBarge. He actually, how about this? National ranking at the time in high school, Debo was the 226th catcher. He was higher ranked as a catcher. He was the 44th overall player coming out of Louisiana and the 7th best catcher out of Barb. All right. Listed at the time, 5'9", 165. He still says 5'9". He's up to about 175. This is old stuff. Yeah, all that profile is from when he was in high school. So Debo, All-American. Again, if you're taking some college shortstops, okay. But if you're taking a high school shortstop over Kyle DeBarge, I wish you luck, because that just doesn't seem to be, to me, doesn't seem to be the right move. I could be wrong, but college guys, all right, we kind of know what that is. It's a big roll of the dice if you're taking a college shortstop or a high school shortstop, I think. All right, so I got too many beverages sitting here and ready to take my supplements. Chase Morgan, All-American freshman. Have not seen him go into the portal. Thank goodness. That was my big concern. He likes where he is. I think he can dominate this kind of competition. Maybe add a couple of pounds, and you don't want to go too crazy, especially as a pitcher, right? But he can add 5 or 10 more pounds, and all of a sudden, with the breaking ball and the changeup, if he can get it, you don't have to get it to 95, 96. But boy, you power it in there at 92, 93, that breaking ball changeup is going to be even better, even more effective, right? Getting it in there at 90, you're kind of putting people off balance, but you pump it in there 92, 93, and all of a sudden now you're pumping it by him, right? I did not see, doesn't matter that I didn't see it, but did anybody else go into the portal for the Cajuns? I have not. I also haven't seen anybody coming to the Cajuns. Let's see here. But we had that list a couple of days ago. We did get a Cajun softball player. That's a while ago. That's a month ago. I didn't see that. Taylor Roman, after sitting out a year, I've decided to answer to the transfer portal. Well, we wish her the best of luck. Didn't see that. And they still got Zion Christ. So that's the top. I didn't see that. I haven't seen any more. All right. LSU, meanwhile, let's see if we can update this. I don't know if they got, to be honest with you, 1 or 2 of the Wofford pitchers. Okay. That pitched against them. One of those guys was really good with the changeup. Now, okay, so Zach Cowan, he's the right-hander. I don't think that's the kid with the good changeup. Oh, no, he has elite changeup. Yeah, real changeup. There you go. All right. Was that the guy? I thought it was the lefty who did it. Let me see. Okay, a previous report from D1 Baseball indicated Wofford right-hander Camden Wicker. That's who I'm talking about. However, the Advocate has learned that Wicker is not committed to the Tigers. Wofford ace Zach Cowan is the only Terrier. Okay, so that's the guy. So they got Cowan. Did he pitch the first game against LSU? I don't know. I was in the car for that one. But I thought it was Wicker who pitched the second game against him, right? The elimination game. He pitched pretty well. Now he's coming here. Now, all right. Again, and we saw this, I guess, with Mac Bingham, it's a huge step up. All right. Going from, I don't even know what conference that is. What conference is that? Wofford Baseball Conference. Like the Southland? Not the Southland. It is the Southern. The SoCon. Okay, that's it. So let's see who was in the SoCon. All right. Is this right? All right. So UNC Greensboro. They actually won the conference at 15-6, but were 33-21 overall. Samford, 14-7. They were 36-22. All right. Wofford didn't actually have a good conference schedule. Is this right? They only played 20 games. Is that right? 20 games in the conference. They're 42-20. But on the weekends, he's going against UNC Greensboro, Samford, East Tennessee State University, Western Carolina, VMI, Mercer Citadel. All right. With all due respect to that, that's not Tennessee, Vanderbilt, A&M, Arkansas, Florida, right? That's going to be a thing. So we'll see. What was Zach Cowan's stats? So he was the right-handed ace. Let's see what his numbers were, Zach Cowan. Pitcher stats. All right. All right. Well, apparently he improved dramatically. All right. So he's a little guy, 5'11", 180 out of Blythewood, South Carolina. All right. So as a freshman, 3-3 with a 6.75 ERA over 45 innings of work. How about this? Well, this is impressive. All right. Struck out 54 batters with just 3 walks. That's a little insane. All right. Maybe throwing too good of strikes. All right. So this year, 124 strikeouts in 110 innings. That's outstanding. 102 hits in 110 innings. That's fantastic. And only 29 walks. Fantastic. That's a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He was 10-2 with a 3.35 ERA. All right. And how about this? He's got a couple of shaky outings. That's how really good he was. He's got an outing where he gave up 9 runs in 7 1/3 innings. So he ate up some innings for the team at Samford. He's got a handful of interesting outings, right? Like 4 runs over 6 innings. That's not great. That's not even a quality start, which I don't think is all that great. The quality start is 3 runs over 6 innings. That's still a 4.5 ERA. So he's got a couple of outings here. He gave up 6 runs in the season opener. Gave up 9 runs against Samford. So that's 15 runs in 2 outings. That's a third of his runs. He gave up 45 runs, and 15 of them, earned runs, were in 2 outings. All right. But he's got, 3, 4, 4, 2. We'll see. Sunday starter. Maybe Sunday starter. I'm not sure he's going to be able to be a Friday or Saturday starter, but maybe that Sunday starter that LSU always seems to lack. But again, moving way up, right? This is not even, I know LSU fans will enjoy this. This is not even like he's facing Coastal Carolina, Troy, Texas State, the Cajuns, Southern Miss. Let's see where they were ranked. Let's see where the SoCon was ranked. Where we're going here? Warren Nolan. Let's see. Conference ranking. SoCon was ranked 8th. SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Sun Belt, Pac-12-ish, then the Big East, and then Southern. Let's see what the where did I see conference standings? Let's see here. Just see the RPIs. I mean, Wofford had the best RPI at 50, but half the conference is over 100. Western Carolina 108, VMI 147, Mercer 109, Citadel 232. All right. Samford, who came in second in the conference, was 91. UNC Greensboro with 65. It's a big step up, is all I'm saying. Wishing him the best of luck. But if LSU fans think that Zach Collins coming in here to be a Friday or Saturday starter, I'd be shocked. And we'll see what Wicker does. I was impressed with him when he gave up a couple runs, maybe a solo home run, maybe 2 solo home runs. But he had LSU off balance, but he only pitched 2 innings. He only pitched those 2 innings. All right. Also, what about Paul Maneri? Paul Maneri taking the South Carolina job. He made it clear that he was not forced out. He had back and neck issues, real pain. I think he went to one of his students for that, former players, right? One of his former players was a doctor. I think he got it done in like Chicago or something like that. So I think it's a great hire. This is not, I get an example I would make, like a Sam Pittman who takes the Arkansas job and then all of a sudden the rules change. This is Paul Maneri knowing exactly what he's getting into, when he's getting into it. Although, again, it still seems to be a, fly by the, seat of your pants operation, not South Carolina, but the NCAA. What are we doing here? Where are NILs? Are NILs even going to be a thing if the schools are paying for the players, right? 11.7, that's the scholarship numbers that, baseball players get. Is that going to be fulfilled? How does South Carolina do? I mean, I went on a show, my buddy Rob Brown, the fan upstate, I guess in Greenville, South Carolina. They are in a hotbed of, talk about, trying to compete. You got Clemson on one side of the state. You got South Carolina. You're not that far away from Georgia. You're not that far away from Coastal. You got North Carolina, NC State. You are surrounded by really good programs, and you got to go out and recruit and try to compete. Now, it's not like this is a, turning a program around type of deal. You're trying to get South Carolina to the next level. They went to the NCAA tournament. It's not like you're trying to rebuild something, kind of like what Jay Johnson did with LSU. It wasn't like the bottom had fallen out, although LSU fans would maybe claim that. And so wishing Paul the best. Again, everyone there is going to like him. Paul did go to the Dale Carnegie School, I think. Really good job of knowing your name, right? There's not, even at LSU, there's not that many people covering them, right? You get a couple of newspapers, and the TV station. So there's like on a regular basis, maybe a half a dozen people that are there every day, right? Maybe at night and the regionals, there's a dozen or so, but he's really good at knowing your name. Art chirps in. I forgot the Trevor Lawrence. I knew there was a big story, the Trevor Lawrence deal. Did you mention Trevor Lawrence? Not yet. I'm all for players getting their money, but I don't think he's done anything to get 200 guaranteed. I'm with you, Art, on that, but there's two thoughts behind that as we transition to the NFL. Two thoughts behind that. I'm with you, okay? He gets a free pass for the Urban Meyer year, and that's fine. Did come from behind and beat Herbert. I didn't play very well in the first half, and that's as much on the Chargers as it is on the Jaguars. And, was in a 3-point game with Kansas City the following week. But he was banged up. I don't know if we've seen the potential. He's the number one draft pick, right? There's some guys that just have not quite been as consistent as you would like, as far as I'm concerned. All right. And I'm one of those guys that, there's reasons and excuses. And, apparently Trevor Lawrence was banged up last year. That's a reason. That's not an excuse. I'm all for that. But again, has he thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season yet? Right? I mean, that seems to be, not that big of a accomplishment. And I'm not sure that he has. I mean, his best year was 25-8. Last year he was banged up. Stats are can I tell you this? The stats are relatively consistent. Now his first year, again, that's Urban Meyer. 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Worst team in the NFL. He's now the next two seasons there. He was completing 60% of his passes for 3,600 yards, and the next two seasons are relatively the same. He missed one game, threw a couple more interceptions. He does fumble a little bit, and that's not on the stat. Well, he does have 5 fumbles each of the last 2 years. That's not great. That is on the stats. But relatively speaking, 66%, 65% completion percentage, 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and 22. I mean, that's pretty good. But then he took a step back because he got banged up. 21 and 14. The 14 is bad. All right. And I'm one of those guys that, as much as I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, he gets banged up just as much, if not more. And I still go back to the playoff run. I seem to remember a lot more of the other team's plays than Burrow's plays. Right? I don't know. If we want to go back and check out the Brady plays, and all the Patriots breaks that they caught, which they did, probably can do that too. But, Derek Carr, I think it was an 8-point game. Derek Carr throws an interception in the end zone. That was the first playoff win. Second playoff win is against Tennessee, and Ryan Tannehill's first and last passes were interceptions. And it still took a great Burrow, I think, to Jamar Chase completion. And McPherson wasn't kicking a 30-yard field goal, still like a 50-ish yard field goal to win the ball game before OT, right? And then I thought it was more of a Kansas City meltdown than Bengals comeback, right? They melted down before half, didn't get at least a field goal, meanwhile a touchdown. And then Mahomes just kind of threw it up for grabs in overtime, and McPherson again makes a long field goal. And then when given a chance to win the Super Bowl, he couldn't put it away. Burrow had the ball, plenty of time left, but up 6, I think was he up 17-13? I always get that confused. Let's see here. Cincy, Rams, Super Bowl. All right, so it was 23-20. But the Bengals were up 20-16. And, only needs a field goal to force overtime right at the end. Or maybe, do the Rams go for 2? He had 2 chances to get it done. I'm not the biggest of all Zach Taylor fans either. Although I think Zach Taylor did a heck of a coaching job last year without Burrow. That would maybe his best coaching job. So some of these guys I don't think deserve it. Like like a Jared Goff, like, would he have taken 45, or is that insulting? Is that, I would have, you know, limited the money on that. At the same time, here's the other side of it, Art, that you do want to sign them up sooner rather than later because it's going to cost you more. They're saying Dak Prescott's going to get $300 million. Really? Good luck with that. But like a Tyreek Hill was like the highest paid wide receiver as of last year. And now what's his contract compared to Justin Jefferson, right? Tyreek Hill contract. 4-year extension worth $120 million. Okay. Annual average salary from 25 to 30. Okay. And now he's looking for another long-term contract? He's looking for a new contract? Let me get this straight. Is that right? Tyreek Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, confirmed what seems to be obvious all along, that Hill is looking for a new contract with the Miami Dolphins. Just signed one, right? A couple years ago. All right. Justin Jefferson contract. 4 years, $140 million. So, it always goes up. It always goes up. It always goes up. So you kind of have to sign him. I don't know if you're going to get better than Trevor Lawrence. I thought the Rams wouldn't sign Goff back in the day. Like, thanks very much. Maybe you get a 3rd or 4th round pick for him if you trade him before the 5th year, or you just let him go. You don't get anything for him. Now, it seems to work out for both ways, right? We don't usually see those trades work out both ways, but the Rams get Stafford, they get their Super Bowl, and the Lions seem to be set at quarterback currently. The other big story that happened yesterday was apparently the Big 12 is getting into bed with private financing. And this is going to be a disaster. One of my favorite movies is Wall Street. And when the Piper comes calling, it's going to be bad. You want to see sports go away fast, right? The idea, let's make sure we understand this. Athletic departments are not there to turn a profit, all right? Kind of like people think the government should be a business and turn a profit, at least not a debt. Well, government is supposed to be there, however, the way I see it, when problems arise, right? Like storms in Arkansas, helping people get back on their feet. That's what government is there for. And so they don't turn a profit. We're not supposed to make money, right? The government's not supposed to turn a profit. Shareholders, there's no, stock returns. Same thing for an athletic department. And so, the athletic departments take it on the chin with every other sport except football and basketball. Now, there may be in like an LSU where, do they break even or turn a slight profit on baseball? But that's like LSU, probably Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Southern Miss draws really well, right? But they don't get any money TV-wise. They're not getting any kind of money like LSU does. So, LSU softball, LSU baseball may be like self-sufficient. Gymnastics, I presume, makes some money, right? That's sold out. But everything else is, doesn't. But now you're going to get into bed with these guys who are going to want a return on their investment. And they're like, this is a loss. We're now going to cut the beach volleyball team or a wrestling team or a track team because this is what's profitable over here. I mean, as if we didn't know by now, it's just all about the money, right? You always get, if people, and you're always afraid to ask about money when you're going for a job. And, they ask you weirdly, is it all about the money? Well, the answer now is yes. And the reason of that is because it's all about the money for the people we work for. The jobs that I have lost in the past have been, I didn't bring in enough money, mostly doing sales. I made too much money, which only in their eyes I did. And I asked for more money. That was it. It's always been about the money. The NFL is moving their morning show, their super successful morning show, from New York to LA because they didn't want to pay a little bit of rent in New York. So I don't know how many people are out of jobs. I think Jason McCourty isn't moving out to LA. I don't think Kyle Brandt's moving out to LA. I don't know who's moving out. I think the super successful morning show, Good Morning Football, is going to be something brand new, and we'll see. Maybe Kyle Brandt's moving out there. I read that he's staying. But, I mean, is there any more greedy than the NFL? It's all about the money. It's all about the money. They do not care about player safety when you're playing 17, 18 games. Now, 16 games is fine, but they want to make more money, right? They're getting sued with this. I think DirecTV and the NFL are getting sued, right? It's all about the cash. All we want is a little bit of the crumbs. So, Jacksonville, it'll be interesting to see how Jacksonville does because, do they sell out? Make no mistake about it. It is a college town. Gainesville is not that far away. Florida State is a little further away, but a straight shot down I-10. For a long time, they have not filled the stadium because they were bad. Now, apparently, they do fill the stadium. And for the longest time, the Gator Bowl was like one of the bigger stadiums in America. Whereas, NFL stadiums are around like 60,000. This was closer to 75, 80, right? And that's tough to fill up in one of the smallest markets in America. It'll be interesting to see. They got a new stadium coming. Who knows when? I don't know when it's going to be open. It's 24 now, 27, 28. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, the AFC, again, is just ridiculously hard, right? And the next contract, Art, is going to be Tua. Do you sign Tua to this long-term deal? He's waiting for his deal. I'm not sure he's worth it, right? Because he's good against the bad teams, but not any good against the good teams. Kind of like my guy, Matt Castle, right? When he came in for Brady, they won 11 ball games, but it couldn't beat the good teams. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. Almost made the playoffs. He came back against Brett Favre and the Jets, as it turns out. Let it come back victory. I'm not sure if they had the chance. I was actually out that night, so I don't remember. I don't know if they had the chance to win it or not. I think they had to get a stop, and they couldn't. It was one of those, both teams don't get the ball type of deal anymore. But I'm not sure Tua is worth it. But the AFC is ridiculous. If Cleveland can ever figure out their quarterbacking and Pittsburgh can figure out their quarterbacking situation, right? I mean, you got a bunch of guys. Does Harbaugh figure it out with Herbert? Raiders are a mess. What does Sean Payton figure out? You just got a lot of quarterbacks in that conference it's really hard. It is really hard. Whereas in the NFC, what does J.J. McCarthy eventually do with the Vikings? Does Kirk Cousins do anything with Atlanta? Is he healthy? You got Dak and the Cowboys. You're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. You got Jalen Hurts. He already has his deal. What do the Giants do with Daniel Jones? Brock Purdy is on a rookie deal. I also heard that the new Lawrence deal he still have 2 years on the rookie deal. So you still have an opportunity to add players, for this year and next before that season kicks in, before the contract kicks in 26. Also, it's nice to have a done deal. That's off the plate. We know who our quarterback's going to be. We can build around him. We need to improve the offensive line, make sure we get some weapons. Do we have enough to spend on the defense, right? You need somebody to make a play, right? I mean, the 49ers, as much as we blame Kyle Shanahan for screwing up overtime in the Super Bowl, I've heard the 49ers were gassed, right? They took the ball to begin overtime because his defense was gassed. I've heard players say that. And so you can't get a better defense than the 49ers, and yet Mahomes went down the field and scored the touchdown. So you just need a little bit of money on the defense. So we'll see. So, I mean, you get the Lawrence contract, the Tua contract. I mean, these guys are making a ton of money. And now conferences are going to be, making in college, someone came up with the Southwest plus the Big 12, Southwest Airlines plus the Big 12 equals the Southwestern Conference, which would be great, right? Getting to bed with the guys who making the money and giving you the money is just a bad idea. It is a bad idea. Sports somehow is the one place where the people who give the money yet don't really have the say as much as they would like. All right. The NFL kind of dictates, right? Like the Masters is like that. The TV gives the Masters all the money, but the Masters dictates how it goes. Remember, back in my day, we didn't really join the Masters coverage until the leaders were on the back nine. We never saw the front nine of Augusta. Now we all know the front nine because now we watch it all day. But the Masters sets the tone, even though it's the TV people that are paying, right? The NFL kind of sets the deal. Even though the TV people are paying billions of dollars. College football kind of sets the deal, even though the TV people are paying the billions of dollars. Usually it's the other way around, right? Like if you sell a radio ad on a much smaller level, the client usually sets the details, right? The radio station gives the parameters, but the client, and they're the ones who are demanding. Obviously, it's a little bit different supply and demand, where the NFL just will say, we'll go over here. And there's so many more options today than there were, just 5-6 years ago, right? But no one had Amazon having football on, right? No one had Apple TV having sports on. Right? So the amount of money that is available to these people be careful getting into bed with these investment bankers. I got a Gordon Gekko. Why did you wreck Blue Star? Because it was wreckable. Start selling off. Yeah, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It is you want to talk about opening a Pandora's box, getting into bed with some of these bankers, and you are going to be sorry, because they're going to be the ones who are dictating, not the colleges. All right. And this whole amateurism thing is really a fallacy now, right? And it's just the coaches. I heard this the other day, and we had Danny Hurley. Danny Hurley went on the Levitard show yesterday and honestly said there was a number and they didn't get to it. So the Lakers kind of screwed up. And even Hurley said, it's late in the process. I had a kid that was in the draft, came back to play to go for a three-peat. So think about this with the NIL and the transfer portal. If the players have to sign a contract, don't the coaches? What happens with the players' contract? Is it going to be in there where the players are signed to a 3-year deal? And is that null and void if the coach leaves? Because I've seen some broadcasters that have contracts that could not get out of it. Before he joined MLB Network, Matt Vasgersian was the Padres broadcaster. He was up for the Cubs gig, couldn't get out of it. I'm sure he was getting, 50% raise to be the voice of the Chicago Cubs. Couldn't get out of it. I think Dave O'Brien was up next. He had a deal with the Red Sox and ESPN. Couldn't get out of it. And then when they fire you, you're left, out. You're left out. So it feels like college coaches are the only ones that can get out of contracts. We'll see if the players do. There's going to be a lot worked out, but I think it's going to be worked out sooner rather than later, right? Is what I think. Boy, we did a lot of stuff. Not stuff that I put in here. Let's see what we got here. Again, if you are just joining us, thanks for popping into the Schultzecast. No cavities. That's very cool. Again, Southern Family Dentist really did me a solid. All right. So that takes, a little pressure off. Again, I don't mind, cavity here and a cavity there, no big deal. You want to avoid the root canal. And I don't even mind the work being done. It is what comes out of your pocket, even with insurance. Can't imagine what it is without insurance. Also, I mean, I don't know if anybody in the history of the world has, done an I told you so to myself, but whatever I was working on fell through. And I will go into detail later on. Still have a couple of things out there. Also made plans to go home. So we'll be doing this from get to sleep in a little bit. We'll do it from Mama Schultz's deck at 7:55. We'll see when the Orange Theory classes are then. But going home for 2 weeks. Sunday the 23rd to the 6th. So going home for 2 weeks. The big family get together is on the following week. Like to just go up there, spend time with mom before everyone comes down. And airline ticket prices are expensive. And my flight is crazy. I'm not getting in until 1 if I get in, right? Not getting in until 1 a.m. on Monday morning. And leaving like at 6:30 a.m. on Saturday. So how long is that? How many days is that? I'm like losing 2 days on the vacation, oddly enough. So I'm leaving on Sunday and coming home Saturday. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 days, but it's more like 11, right? Sunday doesn't count because I'm getting in late, and Saturday doesn't count because I'm leaving early. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is it 12? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it is 14. It's 14 days. So it's 12 days because I'm leaving Sunday, coming back Saturday, but those days don't count. So, but we are going up there. Again, I will go into detail once everything is settled. I had something happen that has never happened. And, I would look at it as typical Schultz. I mean, there's a way to, if there's a way to screw it up, I'll find it. And I did. A couple other things we're working on. Still one here locally, which I'm very thankful for. And although I'm not sure how it's going to work, but, the ball is proverbial rolling, and there's still one outside shot, out of town. We'll see. That process is going as well, but to me, that's a long shot. So it would be an amazing opportunity. And again, when everything is settled, I will recap because it has been, I'd say it's been a roller coaster, but there hasn't been too many ups. It just seems like it's going down. When it starts to go up again, we'll trying to keep a good attitude. I've put on a little bit of weight. I went away for the weekend and, can't cook out of a hotel room, not eating the healthiest. Wednesday, because the deal fell through, I stress ate. By the way, it was really good. By the way, I mean, they're not kidding when they say mozzarella logs at walk-ons. Like, that's a meal. Like, those aren't little dinky cheese sticks. Those were, like, that's the whole meal. You don't need anything more than that. And they cost like a meal, but it's the best chicken sandwich going, the blackjack chicken sandwich. And then I had the ice cream. I didn't even have anything to drink, but I stressed ate just to make me feel better. I did go to Orange Theory yesterday. That was good. We did lift this morning, so that's good. That's been a minute since we did that. But it has been it has been a weekend. It has been a week. I was obviously not here early in the week and over the weekend. And I've never really heard. I've heard of contract negotiations being able not to come to terms, but we had come to terms. I will say I did ask for a couple more things, but they really weren't, in my eyes, they weren't deal breakers on my end. And some of it was protection because of what has happened to me in the past. And I've learned you got to get everything in writing. And they went from, we have a deal to we don't have a deal. And I've never experienced anything like that. So it is what it is. As where's the hat? Where's my hat? There it is. As he would say, or we said it with him. Yeah, it is what it is. And so we move on. Can't change it. I don't even know if I'm all that disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I didn't want it. I had convinced myself that it was a good opportunity. A lot of red flags with the opportunity, but I was going to make the most of it. Something new, and excited about it. And again, it fell through. So a little bit of a bummer. I found out Panera. Can you throw a conniption at Panera? I'm like, what are you doing? No. Oh well, we move on. And I will say, I didn't go to the bourbon thing last night at Ambassador Cafe. I probably just should have. They were tasting. I got all the bottles, or I did. The Old Forester series, 1897, 1910, 1920, and I think the 1924. And they were offering the 1924 bottle and a couple of Woodford Master collections. And it's a good time. It's a social thing. And even if I somehow won an opportunity to buy it, I would have either one or the other. I would have given the ticket back so someone else can win, because I don't need those bottles or necessarily want those bottles, or just, win it and someone else buy it from me and just retail. I mean, I'm not going to flip it right in the middle of it. I don't think those things are, the bottles they were giving away there was not much of a secondary market. So I would have had somebody else. Does anybody else want this bottle? Right? You want to take another ticket? However, this weekend, I did get into the Father's Day bourbon raffle at Rouse's. Now, Rouse's, the difference is here. There's much more available, but they put it in baskets, so they upcharge you. I went to the Mother's Day one, and I wasn't in the raffle, and only 22 of the 30 people showed up, so I would have been like 23rd. Here, I'm 27 in the raffle, so we'll see how many people show up. But again, for like a $65 bottle of bourbon, they're charging $150 because they put other things in the basket. I don't need that unless I can get something that I really want. I will do that. And sometimes they have things off to the side that are more interesting. But I have enough bourbon. If I'm looking for things that I want, I will tell you this: I did bring back from where I was. I did bring back a Peerless Double Oaked Rye, and a friend bought that. For me, I just the only thing I charged him was shipping and handling because I had to check my bag. Right, that was it. There was not making a profit on that. And they had a couple of bottles that you couldn't find down here. They had the Double Oak Peerless bourbon, and I can only put one bottle in my bag. I'm not, you don't want two bottles, or certainly three. And they had a King County barrel strength. I would have bought that. And then I did find, I think I mentioned this, a birthday bourbon, Old Forester. I tried to buy it. I have not heard back. I don't know if I, take an 8-hour drive. Will I drive 16 hours to go buy that bottle? And they also had a 13th Colony cask strength. So, I would have been very happy, to go to where I was and just go get those bottles, because those are things I have not been able to see. All right, here in Lafayette. So, but oh well. All right, I think that's about it. I have been slacking in a big way on the lockdown Sunbelt. We need to do that. I'm just a really tragic story. Get this right. A Southern Miss player was, killed, unfortunately. Really, really devastating player. MJ Daniels, cornerback, a junior, was killed. I mean, just devastating. That's a second player we have known, right? App State lost, I think, an offensive lineman. And it doesn't really matter why or how in either case that, we're not dealing with, he's out for the year with an ACL or he's got concussion issues. It's devastating. And we were sending out all our condolences to, Coach Will Hall and the Southern Miss family. Awful news out of that. I don't even know if you put that into a lockdown Sunbelt. You just, kind of mention it. Nichols coach on the bright side, couple of hirings, by the way. The Nichols coach got the Arkansas State job, and they seem to be very happy with that. Mike Silva was the Nichols coach and, did a great job there for a couple of years. And they're investing. And he went to where it was interesting because all of the A-State people, Howell Razor and Kara Ritchie and others, they are not investing in baseball, right? Kind of like the opportunity that I was given, like they're doing the least possible. Well, Arkansas State is known for having an awful field, not investing in the team, not investing in the program, right? And now he got a big raise compared to what the previous coach was getting. He's got outs if they don't improve the stadium and the field over the next few years. And so it's a big opportunity. And so now, they're investing in baseball and it's a great opportunity because the Sun Belt is, at least for right now, we'll see if the ACC breaks up or whatever the case may be, that still may help out the Sun Belt, right? If the ACC breaks up, is the Sun Belt the fourth best conference? If you got the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC, Sun Belt moves up. Even if other schools move out, the other conferences are bigger and better, but there's no ACC, Sun Belt moves up one. And so it's a good job by Arkansas State to invest in that. Also, it should be mentioned, Coastal Carolina signed Chance Miller from South Carolina. He was a senior deputy athletic director from South Carolina. He's the new Coastal Carolina guy. Also, it should be mentioned, our guy, Nico Yanko, he got a new deal. This guy, I follow him on Twitter. He's the former, right-hand man for Brian Maggard. He's doing a great job at Murray State. I don't know if they have to build any, new stadiums like we're trying to do here, and they are, finally. I don't know if they need to upgrade their facilities, but he's doing a great job in a state where, Murray State is, under the radar, right? When you're competing with the Kentuckys and the Louisvilles, and maybe even the Western Kentuckys, it's tough to get any kind of notoriety or publicity. And he's doing a great job raising money. I think he was out at Nike, and he was talking to the guy who made the John Morant shoe, and he gets John Morant involved, and he's getting money as much as he can from Ja. He's doing a great job up there, and I don't mind saying he came on the show last year, hooked up my family. They were playing a football game against Louisville, and my brother is a season ticket holder with the Cards, and this is one of those things that is not that, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It certainly takes time away from what he's doing, but it costs nothing except time. All right. It should be noted, he was there all weekend. Like they had I don't know about Thursday, but certainly Friday, they had a whole dinner, bourbon planned, right? Tasting and everything like that with potential donors, right? Because I don't even know where Murray State is, but a lot of people are going to be in Louisville. So let's see if we can find some donors to hop into dinner. And, he's entertaining. I'm sure he's entertaining. He's got a box in Louisville, so he's got to entertain a bunch of people. And yet, still had time to take my brother and my nephew down on the field, which I take for granted. Getting down on the field is not that big of a deal for me. But how often do they get down on the field? And it's maybe 10 minutes out of his day, right? 5-10 minutes out of his time. Come on down, take a picture, walk around a little bit, go back up to your seats. So I appreciate that. So Nico was really helping. Also, Josh Bruner was there as well. So that's a big help I do owe them a bottle of bourbon. Big help there. So always in my good graces. Boy, we've gone an hour, kind of gone all over the place. Anything else? Again, NBA is going to finish up, right? I don't know if Dallas is going to win a game. And the Panthers held on last night. Goodness, that was fun. 4-1. It was a blowout. They're actually down 1-0. I think they scored like 2 goals in a 90-second span to go from 2-1 to 4-1. And then here comes Edmonton making a 4-2. They made it 4-3 with about 5 minutes left to go, and they had opportunity after opportunity. I think they had opportunities throughout the game. This game 2, they didn't have many shots into the third, and then they started pelting Bob, and he stood on his head again yesterday. But they are Panthers are 1 game away from winning their first Stanley Cup. All right, we've gone just about an hour. Really, hopefully the Wi-Fi has stayed. We got 57 people watching. Really appreciate you guys. Again, the ball is rolling to stick around here. There is 1 shot out of town. I'm not super confident I'm going to be in that mix. It is it's certainly, again, an honor just to be considered. It is a little bit of a confidence boost to be considered for such a position. But we'll see. We'll see if we get into that second round, right? The important round to me. To be considered is nice. If you get in that second round, now you get corporate involved and you got a good shot at auditioning. So it's a great opportunity, and I'd be lucky to get it. I'm lucky to have the opportunity here in town. So I feel lucky for that as well. All right, everybody have a great weekend. It is toasty out there. I was all set to go running yesterday, and I just decided I ended up having a headache. I don't know where that headache came from. Weather.com, update one of America's hottest on record. And we're getting ready for those brutal whatchamacallits coming in. Storms. We don't like to say the H word around here. Afternoon high of 93. What is the humidity going to be? Ooh, goodness. Ooh, hold on. Oh, humidity is 82%. Going to be a warm one. I will say that's where I started to lose it. I have put on a little bit of weight. Eating a bag of caramel corn doesn't help. That was yesterday. And walk-ons doesn't help that as well. But when I got down to 208, I just been running just like 20, 30 minutes. Not a very hard run, but a little bit of an extra run. We'll see if we can do that today. Orange Series at noon. So I don't know if I need to do a second one at 5. that may be pushing it. All right, everybody have a great weekend. I appreciate it. Boy, an hour. I don't know. I guess I had a lot to say. A lot to say today. Again, are we doing a little Smokey Robinson here? Oh God. Tears of a clown. Hide the pain. Hide the pain behind my smile. I don't know. Anyways. There goes the Wi-Fi. All right. I will. I'm going to go to Office Depot today and see if I can go get a 10-foot Wi-Fi cord, internet cord, just to plug in, because you can do that directly. All right. Everybody have a great day and a great weekend. We will talk to you again on Monday.